Welcome to the Emily the Mystic Show. You're about to walk through a portal that leads to all things mystical, magical, spiritual, and supernatural. I'm your host, Emily. I'm a spiritual mentor, an Akashic Records practitioner and teacher, an intuition development coach, and a galactic channeler. If you're an old soul on a self-discovery and healing journey, you are in the right place. We'll be diving in deep to some of my favorite mystical topics, including manifestation, past lives, the spirit world, energy, and so much more. Get ready to embrace your inner mystic and live your most authentic life possible. The portal is now open. Hello, my dear listener. Welcome back to another episode of the Emily the Mystic Show podcast. Today's guest is someone who is very near and dear to me. Her name is Heather Fox, and Heather happens to be one of my incredible clients that I worked with for several years now. And Heather and I had the privilege of co-creating and co-channeling something really magical together that I cannot wait to share with you today. And this episode is going to be the live launch and live release of this really magical thing that we're going to be sharing with you on today's episode. But before we get there, I want to introduce you to Heather herself. Heather Fox is a trauma-informed certified Akashic Records practitioner and intuition guide who blends precision, intellect, and energetic work to create lasting reality-shifting transformation. A former corporate leader and global speaker, she helps high performers, elite athletes, and industry leaders break through subconscious blocks so excellence becomes effortless. Using the Akashic Records, subconscious recoding, and energetic alignment, Heather doesn't just remove resistance, she rewires the codes behind your decisions, energy, and execution. Think James Bond meets Mary Poppins, strategy, mastery, and magic. Heather works beneath the surface to unlock the next level of performance, not through force, but by shifting how you operate at your core. Amazing. Welcome, Heather, to the show.
Yay. I'm so happy to be here. I'm so excited to talk about our topic.
I know. Me too. And Heather, where are you located?
I am in Des Moines, Iowa, in the U.S.
We love this. We love that you're in the Midwest because I am such a huge advocate for spreading light and doing spiritual work all over the planet. So that's so cool. And for the audience to get to know you better as well, can you share with us your astrology, sun, moon, and rising?
Yes. So sun is Scorpio. I have to look because I never remember them. Rising is Pisces and moon is Libra.
Yes. I know we have a lot of people in the audience with Libra placements, so we love to hear this. And as a Pisces sun, I love your Pisces rising energy so much. And can you share with us your human design type as well?
Yeah, so I'm a 1-3 mental projector, which is both
cool.
Amazing and challenging all in and of itself.
What does that mean to you?
So the mental projector, so just being so open, I love that I can sense and tune into things quickly and effortlessly. And also it's really hard because I pick up so many energies, and to not have them impact me or try to sift out like what's mine, what's theirs. And then the whole mental piece, I really do best when I can talk my things out, my ideas out from a business, but by being a business owner with myself, sometimes that's challenging, or, making sure I'm surrounded with people to talk my ideas out with that understand that I just need to talk. I actually don't need you to fix it or solve it. Just let me verbally spew it all out. And by the end, I will be good to go. So that has been, it's been so helpful for me to understand that, but it has also been a challenge for me to find spaces to do that safely where people can understand what I'm doing.
And I love that you share that so much, because I feel like that's why a big part of why you and I and our co-creations work so well together, because there's an aspect of my own chart where I have the 4 right arrows in my human design chart, which basically means that the way my brain works, it's very passive. So I have to grab and hold on to the right thing that someone is talking about at the right time. And then that allows me to generate a response to that. So Heather happened to ask me the right question at the right time, which led to the energy healing technique that we both co-channeled together, also known as the Divinity Tablets. So I feel really guided to start there. We're going to introduce the Divinity Tablets to you first here, and then Heather will talk about your story and get into more details about how we landed on this. But for the listener to know, Heather and I co-channeled this amazing energy healing technology called the Divinity Tablets. I want to say this happened a good 6 to 8 months ago. Heather, again, asked me the right question at the right time, which was at the time I was working with this energy healing technology that an old spiritual teacher had taught me. And I felt really guided that it was time to create something unique to me and my world and my essence. And it led us down a path to going into the records together and working with our spirit team to bring forward what we now know as today as the Divinity Tablets. So Heather, how would you explain the Divinity Tablets, and how would you describe them to someone who doesn't know what they are?
Yeah, it's so interesting. It's a sacred energetic technology, but the best way I like to explain it is that it's a recalibration of your soul back to your original soul. So once we recalibrate back to our soul, it expands and opens up everything. And when we expand our energetic capacity, that essentially acts as a bridge from where we are today to where we're destined to be. And so once we expand that and open it up and have the bridge, then we can start to clear away the distortions, the illusions, the things that we picked up, the beliefs, the identities that are not ours. And so it really is it's a way to recalibrate and then expand open the energy that creates the bridge to remove what is not aligned and not ours to get back to our truth. And when we do that, then there's so much clarity and so much runway to really start to live in alignment. And I say, when people do that, or when we use this modality or technology with people, that's when you really start to see like timelines are cruising and things are moving in alignment, and this kind of effortless, like, oh my gosh, like, how did this happen so easily? Like, it just naturally paves the way for your truth to come through and to operate in alignment.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And it's so interesting because I think sometimes we can talk about in the spiritual community this idea that we are becoming this new version of us, and we're kind of coming into something that's like outside of ourselves. But what's really interesting about the way that this energy healing was channeled is that it's not about becoming something else. It's about getting back to the original coding of how you were designed and crafted and created for this lifetime. So what we do with this energy healing is we are reaching back to your original template, your original, that's why we call them the Divinity Tablets, your original tablet of your soul, the tablet that you created and crafted with divine source consciousness, with your spirit team, in order to fulfill what you came here to create, who you came here to be. And by working at that original quantum soul level, we can strip away the inauthentic timelines, the inauthentic programming and conditioning and trauma and things from the past or present that you've been exposed to that's not in alignment with who you are. It's so interesting. We love it.
Yeah, it is fascinating. One of the things that pops a lot when I'm working with people in this space is I see the noise dissipates, because once you're kind of brought back into your truth, then all of the things that are going on in society, like, there's a distinction of that's not my truth. So when you get rid of that noise and that illusion, then this is key. The internal conflict that people have dissipates, because it's not like people know their truth to some level, even if it's at an unconscious or subconscious level. And then they're told from society, I should go do or be whatever. And then they have this internal conflict, which sucks a ton of energy and creates stress in our bodies, right? So we're trying to figure out like, oh, I should do this, but I don't know why I don't feel like doing that, and trying to convince ourselves. And so the internal conflict takes so much energy and does so much harm to us on so many levels, even physically, right? We start to physically manifest things that I've noticed when we are working with the Divinity Tablets and peeling back the truth of who you are, getting rid of these layers that aren't yours, that internal conflict just naturally goes away because the truth is so clear. And I think that is one of the biggest, it's hard because it's not as tangible, but it is one of the biggest, most profound impacts that people are experiencing because they're able to live without that. And then their bodies are like, oh, I feel better. I have more energy. Of course you do, because you're not fighting yourself all day.
Oh my gosh, it's so true. I feel like that's so well said and so well described. And the process is surprisingly gentle, which I think makes this a really special energy healing technique. Sometimes energy healing can unintentionally blow your energetic circuitry wide open, and you can manifest as a result some sort of like healing crisis or some sort of illness or some sort of like an injury or something that slows you down because your body needs to heal from the energy healing you just received. But this I have found with people is surprisingly gentle. And it's something that, and we'll introduce this to all of you in, we're having an upcoming event around this specific energy healing, so you get to experience it for yourself. But Heather and I are going to be doing these events relatively regularly because it's not something that's like a one and done, like a quick fix that's just going to get you back to point zero in like your 0 point of your soul. It's more about subtly peeling back those layers so that the process feels more gentle and less intense, especially to your physical body. Mm-hmm. And that in and of itself helps. I have just found for me the process to be so smooth that exactly like what Heather described, all of a sudden there aren't, 10 different voices or 10 different things kind of going on inside me that feel overwhelming and I'm not sure what to choose or what to decide. It's more so, like I have clarity. I feel that I can make more decisions from a place of just what feels true to me. Mm-hmm. It's really interesting.
Yeah. And I think the other aspect that I like, as you mentioned, that it is subtle and, it works in alignment with our nervous systems, right? So I think society has, in so many ways taught us like, go fast, hustle, push hard, push through it. And there's maybe times and places to do that. It's not all bad. And also that healing is done when our nervous system is calm. And so I think sometimes people will associate, well, if I go slow, it's going to take me forever. But what people don't realize is, one, you feel better along the way. Every stage you're feeling better. Your nervous system is calm. You have more clarity. And then it compounds. So it's not like, oh, I have to do this widget and then I have to do this widget and this widget. It's all compounding. So it's like we clear this layer, we have more clarity, and then we clear this layer, and then we have the clarity and. And so it's a compounding effect that is very natural. And there's nothing you have to go do. It's not another thing I have to like, oh, I got to go add this to my practice, It's really happening. The work is happening, the clearing is happening, and it's very gentle. And I even have some people, like if it's been a little while since we've done their last clearing, they'll come back and I'm like, oh, I almost forgot I used to do that. It's so
it's
natural for them. They just forget like, I forgot that used to be a thing for me. I forgot I used to think that way or struggle that way. So it is so natural and so beautiful and healing in such a peaceful way that it really starts to change, I think, the way people live and experience, and even shifting the dynamic of some of our beliefs or what healing has to look like.
My gosh, yes. I could not agree more with all of that. So, we're going to sprinkle in some more information about the Divinity Tablets as we go through this conversation today. But to kick this off, we need you to know that we are having a group healing ceremony with the Divinity Tablets on May 21st at 6 p.m. Eastern in the evening. And this happens to coincide a few days before the new moon in May, which is really lovely because it's going to help you align your energy. And also with the lunar cycle, because we are human beings living on this earth plane in accordance with the tides and the lunar cycles, especially as women, this is also going to help you realign your energy and your frequency to get back into that natural state of balance in accordance with our planet, in accordance with this human experience. So we can't wait to have you experience it with us. We're going to keep chatting about this today, but Heather, I want us to get to know you better and how we got here, because obviously we're talking about the fact that we channeled an energy healing technology. And I feel like it's maybe on some people's minds, well, how did you do this? And like, how did this get created? So I would love to hear more about your journey and your story. And let's take it way back. When did your intuition start kicking in? Did it start in childhood? Were you an intuitive kid? And how did those early experiences lead you to where we are now?
Yeah. So looking back, hindsight's always so funny. I think it was always there, but I didn't know it or didn't see it. And I didn't even know what it would look like. So it's like if you had an untrained eye on a diamond and you see this unpolished rock, you wouldn't know it's a diamond. That was me to my gifts. Like, I was just like, oh, I'm weird. I have these weird things. I'm kind of an outcast. Like, I'm always trying to fit in. But I didn't even see my own gifts because I didn't know that they existed. I didn't know it was a thing. And so in hindsight, looking back, I'm like, oh my gosh, I felt so much and it was always there. But it wasn't until more recently that I realized the importance of it. So let me give you just a little bit of context. In junior high, I stumbled across this article in a magazine. And it said something along the lines like, when you smile, it changes the chemical makeup of your brain. And that was mind blowing to me, right? I was like, what? Wait a minute. Like, we can actually change the chemical makeup of our brain, because up until that point, I guess I just assumed we went to school, we learned, we added to our brain, but not that we could change our brain. So that sent me on this like lifelong quest of understanding our mind. And so I started to really understand our mind and how trauma shaped us, our identities, our beliefs, how unseen forces really influenced us, right? Because we can't see our mind working, but these unseen forces actually have influence in us. So I'm cruising through life. I'm really leaning into this knowledge. I think it's so powerful, but I knew something was missing, and I knew of intuition, but I always kind of thought of it as a thing out here. And I didn't really know what my intuition sounded like. I certainly didn't have a relationship with it. I didn't really know what it felt like. I didn't know how to distinguish it. And so I certainly didn't trust it, right? Because it's this thing that people talk about, but I don't really get it. And so fast forward, I'm cruising through life, leaning solely on my mind and the power of my mind, knowing that something is missing. And I find myself in a marriage that is not aligned at all with me. And I knew it. And so at that time, that's when that missing piece was like the aha, like, oh, I got myself in this situation and it's not good. And that marriage led to some of the most soul crushing years of my life. And I'm talking pain at the core of our existence, the type of pain that made me question everything in my life. Like, how did I get here? Why did I do this? What was I thinking? Like, what do I do now? Like, how do I, like, everything. And I'm like, well, and how do I get out? So it took me a couple years to get out of the marriage. And on paper, I was now free. I was a divorced woman. And energetically, I was anything but free. And I didn't understand it. The most bizarre things continued to happen between my ex and I after our divorce. And I'm not talking like the traditional, like post-divorce struggles where you're trying to figure things out and work things out. What does this new life look like? I'm talking like outlandish things I could never dream up. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, I'm doing everything, air quote, right. I'm doing everything right. I'm following the divorce decree. I'm following the law. Like, how on earth are these things happening? Like, it made no sense. I was like in this energetic, chaotic cycle, like this vortex of energy I could not get out. And so one day I was talking to a friend on the phone, and I was telling her about like how insane this is. And she asked me a question. And she said, have you ever had your Akashic records read? And I was like, Akashic, what? Like, what language is this? What are you saying? Like, how do you even spell it? Like, I typed it into Google and I couldn't even get it like right in order for Google to pick it up. And I was like, what is this crazy, crazy thing? And she went on to explain about karmic ties and contracts and vows and past lives. And I was so skeptical. But I thought maybe, just maybe, there was something here. So she recommended this gentleman who does readings. So I was super skeptical, but I was more desperate than I was skeptical. So I was like, fine, I will do this. So I like schedule a time with this guy to do an Akashic Records reading. I have my 500 questions written out. And I'm in the session with him. Mind you, he charges by the minute. So my bill was like astronomical. I was like, holy crap, I just paid like how much money for this session? But I got my questions answered. But so this guy, he was kooky and weird. And at first I was like insane. And here I thought, oh, here we go, Heather. Like, how do you land yourself in these situations? This guy is insane. And he's telling you these most graphic details. And I was like, and I'm looking at the time tick up and my dollars tick up. And I was just like, how did I get here? Anyways, he's telling me about these past lives I had with my ex. And they were super graphic and really horrific. Like I was just like, this is so insane. But he was telling me about these lives that my ex and I had in the past that were filled with unresolved trauma and betrayal and lies and manipulation and abuse and karmic contracts and vows and all of a sudden, like, as much as I didn't want to believe it, I realized that all of these patterns in this chaotic vortex I was experiencing wasn't random. I was actually living the echoes of the past. And so for the first time, I had an understanding. I'm like, I get it. I get what's going on. Like, I understand it, which was beautiful for me, especially for my mental projector. Like, okay, now that I get it. But I immediately then jumped through to, well, now what? So this terrifying question of, if I don't fix this, solve this, end this, cut this, whatever I need to do to this, it will continue. And so that sent me down this rabbit hole of researching everything under the sun about Akashic Records. And that's when I stumbled across you, Emily. And I noticed you had a very different energy about Akashic Records. And you had a different approach. It wasn't just about reading the records. It was about clearing the energy, resolving, dissolving, whatever needed to happen with the contracts, the vows. And so that gave me, like, it almost brings tears to my eyes, because I remember when I found you, I had hope. Like, okay, like, this is hopeful for me. Like, I don't have to live like this, because before I'm like, okay, now I understand what's going on, but this is so painful. I'm ended my divorce, but I'm still living in hell, you know? And so I booked this session with you, which truly has completely transformed my life. So we've been working together for a couple years now. I think you've worked with almost everyone in my entire family, which is funny.
Yeah.
But through each session, we just started to peel back the layers and resolve and dissolve and clear. And with each layer, I felt more and more of myself come online. And so I would say now, for the first time, I'm truly free, not just free on paper, like my soul is free. And not to say there aren't challenges and not to say any of that, but from a soul level, I am free from that partnership, and the karmic stuff of the past has been resolved. And so that alone brought so much life back into me, so much vitality back into me, and like removed the fear of like, I can't continue to live like this. And now realizing like I don't have to, and I'm not. And so that was really, I will say, like a lot of things throughout those years popped. Like I had a lot of aha moments where I started to realize my psychic gifts were coming online. I realized the mediumship gifts were coming online. But this thread, like this was the piece that really like profoundly changed my life. And so what started as this desperation to understand, like, why is this happening to me? Really became this profound journey of understanding, transforming, healing, and mastery. And then has led me into the work that I'm doing today with people, as you mentioned, of, you know, working with them to clear the energetic blocks and also clear the mental blocks so they can also live in alignment with their soul. So,
Wow. Oh my gosh. All of this, I just have full body chills. I mean, everything from your story, I feel like is going to resonate with so many people. And even just for me, having worked with you for years now, it's so incredible for me to get to hear your story reflected back to me and to see the transformation that you've gone through. It is just so incredibly profound and such a joy for me to witness. So I have to say thank you. Oh, I just love it. And it's so exciting because it's really showing me, everything you shared is really showing me sort of the progression of this journey. Level one to this, the spiritual journey, is really like the getting yourself free from the things that have entrapped you, because you find it, when you wake up to your spiritual existence, you realize all the things in your life that are keeping you stuck, like literally entrapped in, whether that's the corporate job or the relationship, the marriage, the life circumstances, the location, or whatever it is for you. And then from that level one of like, okay, I'm extricating myself, releasing myself from all of these layers of the past, from not just this lifetime, from other lifetimes, because that's what's led me here. Then when we kind of really tap into it, we start getting into this sort of level two, this higher awareness of, okay, I am allowing myself to be free, and kind of coming into this awareness of like, I get to create things now. I get to choose for myself what I desire. I get to now manifest things, and I get to change the way that I create my life. And then from there, level three, I feel like, is we're really trusting in the universe to get to co-create that with us. And I say this, and I say because I see the through line with your story and with what you share, because I also feel like the Divinity Tablets help us at every stage of the process.
absolutely. And it really is a process. I love how you map that out, because it's so accurate. And it's like, it didn't happen overnight, you know? And so, but every layer we shed, everything we cleared was better and better and better and better. And like life really started to unfold and compound. And there were moments too of, I'll say, the wobbly excitement. So I say this because sometimes people think like, I'm just going to feel so amazing, right? And it is, but it's kind of this like new world. I've allowed myself to expand into this space, and I'm really excited. I'm like a little kid, but I'm like, I'm not really sure where to go, or like, how does all this work? And so I think, a couple of things. One is knowing and trusting and giving yourself time to let it unfold. That is a gift we can give ourselves. And one thing through this is I was so determined and committed that I am not going to die with this karmic crap open and carry it into, like, if there is one thing I do, it is going to be figuring this out. So I was so committed that, and just knowing that I came here to resolve this. And I had everything I needed, right? So just stumbling across you and your page and like stalking your page and like everything about you, I'm like, I know there is something here for me. And I know whatever I need to receive through this connection with Emily, I will. And so as people are going through these times, sometimes it's really hard and sometimes really wobbly. But if we go back to our knowing that every little piece unfolds, cracks something open, it might not be this straight thing. Like I described my many years of pain in very, very short amount of time. But there was a lot of like cracking the door open. Okay, this feels a little better. This feels a little better. But just knowing that every step, so long as you're in alignment, like every step will peel back a layer, give you another code, help you see something. And that's really the journey, right? And I think
100%.
Just give up too early. And I would just encourage them, like,
Mm-hmm. And I have learned so much from mentoring you, Heather, in so many incredible ways. Like you've really become the teacher and I have been the student with what we've learned together, because there have been times where I've witnessed and held space for you going through some things that were really hard and really challenging. And as a mentor, I want to like run and scoop you up and come to Iowa and be like, I just want to help you. I want to, make sure that we're solving this problem together. Like I want to find a resolution to this. And I think for someone listening, what's really important to note about this journey is that there will be times where you go through things that are really challenging and really emotional and really, really difficult. And there will be hardship and there will be grief. And it's not all sunshine and rainbows, but it's when you're holding space for those moments and looking for that glimmer of hope, that glimmer of trust, that this is divine. Like that experience, the hardship is also divine. When you hold space for yourself in that, it's so profound because it lets you come to that deeper level of trust, self, the universe, all of it. And that's when that pressure really turns the dust into diamonds, know?
Yeah. It's where the magic happens. I love that.
Absolutely. And I would love to hear more about, as we're doing this work together to help release you from some of these karmic traps and ties of the past. When did you really start coming into your own gifts? How did that start opening up? And maybe how did the learning to read your own records help guide you on that journey?
So through working with you, I had the realization. So there were things that you would share with me you would open my records, you'd be reading my records, you'd share them with me. And I'm like, wait a minute, I knew that. I had that thought, or I had that sensation. So what was really powerful for me in working with you is that I realized those weren't just random thoughts. That wasn't crazy stuff I was making up in my head. That was actually communication from the divine. And so that it was early on was a way for me, because I didn't have anyone else in my life that could articulate that. And there were things that I hadn't told you, that came through the records. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like I had this thought, I had this vision, and you're like, this is what I'm seeing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, we're seeing the same thing. And so it took a while for me to really start to distinguish what that was and build trust in myself, because I can't tell you how many times I'm like, I feel like I'm just making this crap up in my head. And you're like, no, you're not. Right. So that was early on. And then when I started to see that, I had a couple really big experiences happen where I had visions of things that in life with other people that would happen. And I really beat myself up because I thought I was making these stories up in my head. And I'm like, why would I do that? Because there were kind of some tragic stories that I saw, bad things happening to good people. And then they played out in real life. And I thought, oh my gosh, I was seeing what was coming. And so I remember coming back to you a few times and being like, holy crap. And then I was paranoid that I manifested it. And like, you helped me just like sort it all out. Like, no, Heather, you're actually seeing and you're sensing. And so that helped me see real clearly. You were an excellent mirror back to me and my gifts. And then I took 2 of your Akashic Record certification classes to really learn it at a deeper level, learn the appropriate way to, I'll say appropriate way. There's a way to go in with integrity and honor and ensuring that we're bringing in the right energies and all of that stuff. So took a couple of the certification courses through you. And then even then I was still doubting myself. And through just experimenting with readings. And then the more I saw the accuracy reflected back to me. So whether it was doing a reading for you or someone else, then it would come true. Or they're like, oh my gosh, the person that you just explained is my great grandpa, and I've been trying to get in contact with him. So when those things started to come through, I started to realize like, okay, this is like, when are you going to accept, Heather, that this is really your gift? And so that took a little bit of a process. And then it's just continued to build and unfold through there, largely through, practicing, honoring, listening, being a student. And then I truly do embody this way of living in my life. So I read my records, and I also recognize when I'm in a state of fear and need your help, right? Like there's times where like, yeah, there's certain things I can do on my own. And then there's times where I'm like, I know I'm not in a clear place to do this for me. So I embody it. And like I mentioned, I think Emily reads for everyone in my family because there's certain boundaries and, just knowing when to reach out for help and when to do it. So it has just continued to evolve. I don't even know if I answered your question now, but
I love it. Yeah. I mean, the Akashic Records can sometimes be like this genie bottle where we're just like pulling magic out of the bottle. It just keeps coming. It's so, oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. And I love how you shared too, how from doubt to trust with your gifts, this journey of really seeing these little synchronicities that started to come up, but you had a little bit of doubt, but you kept going, you kept practicing, you kept working with your own clients, and then starting to see, oh my gosh, this is resonating with people. Like they're starting to actually see things that I'm also seeing, and how that really led you to trusting in your gifts. It's just really so cool to witness.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's part of the journey. I mean, I think sometimes we think we have these gifts or whatever our gifts may be, and they just pop like, oh, I just have this gift and we're really comfortable with it. But there is this cultivating and learning like how it shows up for us. So I'm sure I'll continue to learn for the rest of my life, but I'm much better today than I was many years ago of knowing like, oh, that's actually not fear, interfering. This is actually what I'm seeing in the future or what I'm sensing, and just being able to have that discernment comes with practice and time. And I think, it is important to practice and it is important to embody it. Like I truly live from that place today. Even little things like, what am I going to eat for lunch? I tune in to see what does my body need? What are the nutrients? Everything through my life. I do that with the outfits I'm going to wear. It seems silly, but I'm like, what is in alignment with me today? Like, what am I called for? Like, what do I need to know? And sometimes I pick an outfit and I was like, that's random. It ends up being the perfect outfit because I end up doing something that I need to be in a more athletic fit for. And I was like, how did I know that this morning? But I just knew it, and I just like those little things are like these sparkles in life that I'm like, how did I know this? I don't know, but I love it. And it always works out. Like if you just trust it, always works out, even if it doesn't work out in our human timeline, right? Like when we expect it to happen, like the knowing and trusting, And then I'm like, that's why I was like, I love, I love it.
Yes, it's so true. Those little intuitive sparkles. I love the way that you describe that so much.
I'm on a journey this year to master my health and feel my absolute best while having consistent high energy levels. And so I decided to get some labs to test to see how my hormones were looking, as well as to check for any imbalances within my body. And so I decided to get lab work done through an incredible company called Joy Wellness. That's spelled JOI Wellness. And you can get your lab work done through this amazing company while also getting a unique supplement regimen just for you to support your health. They also provide a variety of different wellness options and health coaching for helping you get your energy levels back and feel your best. So if you want to do high vibrational lab work like I did, you can use code Emily the Mystic at checkout to get your labs at a discounted rate.
And how do you work with your clients now? What does that look like in your business? What are you helping people with?
Yeah. So I work with individuals. I really focus on clearing the energetic blocks in the mental blocks. But how that looks is that some people will come and I'll work with them, through a private package where we'll go in and get really an understanding of their soul. So all of that is through Akashic records, right? And just helping them see who they are, and then looking to clear anything from past life or just any energetic clearing that needs to happen, getting them, I'll say, energetically sound. And then as they do that, then with some clients, there's sometimes where our minds will run these different loops. And the loops are based not on our own self, but on identities or beliefs that were given to us. And so it might be, like I'm not good enough, or I can't do that, or my mom always told me that I'm not gifted in this space, or I was always told I'm chubby, or whatever, right? Like these are just thoughts that are running that actually aren't in alignment with the soul blueprint. So once I work with someone to understand their soul blueprint, clear the energetic blocks, then if there's mental blocks that are preventing them from moving forward, I go in at a subconscious level and we rewire essentially that belief system, because it's not their truth. So some clients come to me just for Akashic Records readings. Some come to me just for the subconscious reprogramming, like I'm struggling with anxiety or depression or eating disorder or whatever. And then some individuals are like, I want it all. And so we'll do the work. I mean, I always start, if they come to me for it all, I always start with the records because that's their truth. So I love starting there to see where do the guides guide us. And then if we need to clear any mental blocks, we do so. But a lot of like what I tell people, a lot of what we've spoken about today is the real change happens in these subtle shifts. They're very intentional. They're very meaningful. And these little shifts are really what open up the gateway for the massive transformations in a way that feels good to our body. So I'm very much a subtle shift for a massive transformation believer, I guess.
100%. Yes.
And then of course, include the Divinity Tablets along the way, because that has become a profound, like I just include that in with the Akashic records.
Absolutely. Yes. So, and let's chat a little bit about how we got here with the Divinity Tablets. So what ended up happening was, long story short, as I explained earlier in this episode, I had been working with an energy technology that an old mentor of mine, an old teacher, had taught me. And I had gone on a long-winded journey around leaving a spiritual community connected to this person, and really felt like there needed to be something new birthed into the world. And so Heather came to me at just the right time and asked this question of, can we start using this energy technology? And what came through for me was, let's sit, let's channel, let's get into the space, let's open the records, let's see what happens, with no agenda, like no ego-driven agenda, no intention other than, can we enhance our Akashic Records experience? And can we create something that can give us even more profound results, like, let's do it. Let's see what happens. And so we went into the records together, and lo and behold, this information just started pouring through around this technology called the Divinity Tablets, which neither of us created that. it just came through.
Yeah. It was so, I mean, sometimes I think back, I remember exactly where I was sitting when we did it. And I remember hanging up and just thinking like, holy, like that just happened. It was so powerful. And the guides that came in to help us. And then we tried it on myself and I felt different. So I was like, oh my gosh, again, like I'm not making this up. And so, yeah, it was just, I guess, just divine timing, right? It was the next layer, next piece needed. And I'm just so grateful for what came through. But it was really as simple as that. It was one session and it came through. And then we're like, okay, let's test it. Let's try it. Let's practice it. And as we did, clients and people in your community continued to get results. And we're like, okay.
Yeah.
Been here.
I know. And after we did that first session, I wanted to test it out on myself. So we get on the call and I go lay down and I'm like, oh my God, I feel like I'm getting psychic surgery right now. This is wild. And I think, oh my gosh, it was just the awarenesses that I was receiving at the same time were so cool. And then I think I went and had one of the best sleeps of my life after that.
Yeah. So total recalibration, right?
It's a total recalibration. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so Heather and I both offer this privately in our one-to-one sessions, containers, mentorships, etc. It's also something that I have taught my Akashic Records Inner Circle students and certified practitioners how to use it as well, because we want more hands on deck with working with this technology, seeing the results. Because that's really both connecting this again to human design. Just for a moment, Heather and I are both a 1-3 profile, which is all about investigating and experimenting. So we have to try it out and sample it and see how it goes and put it out there and like have other people try it out and experiment. And this has just been one really incredible Akashic Records experiment. And to hear what our friends and colleagues have had to say about it, incredible things like, this has helped my client heal from this physical ailment that they've been struggling with for years. And finally, they're starting to get relief from it. Or this finally brought back my menstrual cycle. And I haven't been regular for months now. And for whatever reason, like it decided to come back online after working with the Divinity Tablets. Just crazy things that we can't explain. And just to see how it's benefiting people has been really miraculous, honestly.
Yeah, I think, some of the individuals that I've worked with, they were going through like an awful week, very contracted, couldn't think. They were snappy at their family. We did this. And this was the only thing we did in their session. Because I was like, there's clearly some recalibration that needs to occur. And the next day she's like, I feel like a completely like reborn version of herself. Like she was back to herself. And then I just had, another gal was like really stressed out of it. She was trying to purchase her first home, really stressed out about it. The banks were like, no. And then we did this to clear, we focused on the money stuff with her. And the next day she's like, literally they called me, the bank called me and we're like, we figured it out. We got it. You're good. And she was like, what? like you just gave me a laundry list of reasons this doesn't work. And they were like, nope, we figured it out. And
that's insane.
I mean, so just things like that. And then just, the health stuff too. So one gal was having a lot of migraines and that dissipated about, she's probably 20-30% of the time, or 70 to 80% dissipated. She has them about 20 to 30% of the time. So that was one session. And she's like, that's life-giving to me because it was debilitating to have migraines so often. Like she was in bed and So it's really, really fascinating. It's so powerful. It's so gentle. And I think the other key thing is noticing that the healing and the recalibration continues even after our session for, 24 plus hours, that they'll continue to recalibrate and start to really, when you feel yourself, like when you're back to your who your truth is, like life is different. You see life differently. Like all of a sudden there's not so many hurdles and it's not so awful. And their perspective of life also shifts because you're back to your truth. So when you clear these distortions, even though we might be working on the physical migraines, when we're recalibrating you to your truth, we've also, like, these distortions get out of the way. Their perspective is different. Like that's life-changing in and of itself. And that's not even, I'll say air quotes, something that we focused on. It's just something that occurs when you're back to your soulful self.
Absolutely. Yes. And it's really interesting because I feel like it creates this new energetic baseline that you can't sink below. So it's almost like if you could imagine that your energetic capacity is this long stretched rubber band. It's almost like we raise the rubber band up to give it more capacity, more stretch. And that way, when you have maybe a hard day or things are challenging or circumstances are out of your control, your rubber band is going to stretch and it may dip a little bit, but then you're going to bounce back up. You're going to bounce back up to your new set point, which is really amazing. So you're never going to go back to the way that you were. We're just helping increase your energetic capacity based on your original blueprint, because our capacity is so small when we are living out of alignment, when we are living in authentic lifestyle, when we are not living in accordance with our truth. Of course, we're going to have health issues. Of course, we're going to have hardships. Of course, circumstances are going to happen and we're going to feel the results of that more painfully because our capacity or bandwidth is so small. So this helps stretch us and helps us get back to that higher set point so that life can happen more effortlessly and things can happen more miraculously. And even when the hard things do happen, because they will, this is life, you handle them differently and you show up differently and you have a deeper level of trust.
Mm-hmm. That's so well said. Yeah.
I love it. So we want you to experience this with us. Come hang, come experience the magic. We are holding sacred space for our first ever group experience, group Divinity Tablets, live co-channeled experience where come prepared with an open mind, an open heart, and an intention of what you would like to see shift and change in your life. Because you will see the results of this. You will receive something really amazing. And you may even receive intuitive downloads and inspiration and insights during the course of our time together. And Heather and I will be co-channeling some live messages for the group as well. So it's going to be really, we don't know what's going to come through, but we know it's going to be really cool. So come experience it with us.
And you will receive exactly what you need to. That always happens. And I'm always so just surprised by it for everyone, right? Everyone, when you're open, you get what you need. And I just think this is such a fantastic way to experience it in a smaller group setting. It's like Emily stated before, it's so gentle and so powerful and so profound that I think you just have to experience it to really like get it. There's only
absolutely
so many words we can use to explain it.
100%, but your soul will get it. Your soul will know.
Yes. It already does.
It already does. If you feel that nudge and that calling to join us, please do. I will leave the link below for you to sign up in the show notes. So again, our first event is happening on May 21st at 6 p.m. Eastern. And if you can't join us live, you can still sign up. You'll get the link to the recording after the session is completed so that you can listen to it and receive the magic on your own time. And what we'll probably do is we'll probably have that recording available for purchase maybe a couple of days after the session itself. And then we'll take that offline and then we will have another healing that will be coming your way in a couple of months, so that if you can't make the first one and it's just not aligned for you for whatever reason, or you're listening to this episode later on, please check out where we will have the webpage available in the show notes. It's going to have the link for whenever the next scheduled healing session is, so that you can come join us for that experience. And with that, Heather, where can people find you so that they can follow along with you in your journey?
Yeah, the best way is just on Instagram, and that's at she. So the company's name is She is Fox. The handle is she.is.fox. So she.is.fox. I wish it was
She
is Fox, but here we are.
That's all right. We do what we can in the social media landscape.
Right.
And of course, to end us off today, Heather, I would love to know, what does being a mystic mean to you?
Yeah, I love this question. So for me, it's being at the intersection of the unseen and the seen. It's the knowing, it's the higher intelligence, along with the aligned action, the consciousness. And when you're at the intersection, when you have the knowing, not just trusting like, yeah, this will happen, or I trust this, it's knowing this is my truth, knowing this is the path forward for me. When you have the intersection of that and the action, to me, that is the most magical, mystical place to be, and the best of all the worlds, literally.
Yes. And any tips for getting there, for living that more mystical life?
Yeah, I would say I highly recommend mastering the art of knowing in the unseen. And that does take practice. It's cultivating this deep energetic relationship with the knowing, right? To filter out the interferences and start to really hear your own truth, hear your own soul, because and that can just be practice. I mean, it can be practice, like I said, with food, right? So is it strawberries or cucumbers? And like, what one makes you feel better? And as you practice, like listening to and knowing what your soul is and how it speaks to you and how it communicates to you, that those unseen forces and those voices, knowing what is your truth, that makes everything in life better. Because then once you get to the seen part of it, and people are like, why the heck are you doing that? It doesn't make any logical sense, blah, blah. When you have this knowing, you can slice right through that and be like, I understand. And also, this is my path. And it's much easier to take those aligned actions. So I say the key is knowing and just building that intimate, energetic relationship with the unseen, which is your truth and your knowing, and just start having some fun with it, right? I can't tell you how many times I play with foods and then I'm like, oh, I actually don't feel that great. Like that was my ego talking, not my soul, right? And just little things like clothes, food, what games do you want to play? And as you do that, you'll start to discern the voice. And then to me, your life is so profoundly different once you have that.
Oh, it's so true. And I mean, to take it back to the Divinity Tablets, both of us knew so deeply that this is real and true and that this works, because you can't do something like this if you don't have that innate sense of knowing. So I would say to the listener, if you're listening to this and you're like, well, how do I get myself there? I want you to pick something that you really want to know. You really want to know that it is true. You really want to know that it is, inauthentic with you and that belief, and then start questioning, well, why don't I know? What has led me to believe that I don't feel with every fiber of my being, without a shadow of a doubt, that this is true? Because I guarantee you it's told to you by somebody else, or maybe it's coming from a past life, or it's programming and conditioning from our society that has led you to believe otherwise.
Love that.
Yay. Amazing. Anything to end us off here, Heather, before we let you go?
No, other than thank you for having me and sharing my story. And just to the listeners, we would love to see you on one of the future healing calls. I just think once you experience it, your life will be forever better in just the most magical way.
We can't wait to see you there. We're so excited. Thank you for listening, everyone. The portal is now closed.